Hello, this is Gizmo88, and today I'm going to talk about the PlayStation 4. This is the preview for it. The PlayStation 4 was announced back in February, and there's a lot of excitement with it, and then there's a lot of questions with it at the same time. Now, to start off with, I'm going to talk about the specs of the system, and then I'll talk about the features, and then I'll talk about the issues. So first of all, it's an AMD 8-core CPU, and it's clocked at right around 1.8 gigahertz. The GPU is basically clocked. It's designed for real-time gaming. That pretty much sums it up. The RAM that it has in it is GDDR5. Now, the GDDR5 RAM is superior fast, but the biggest thing is it's very, very expensive. And while it's still in beta testing for computers, I mean, they haven't really, unless you get a very, very high end, or you're actually like a developer beta tester, that's about the only way you can really get it. It also utilizes the USB 3.0, which is okay, no big deal, but it is expensive. It's another expensive device on the system. Supposedly it's going to have a 500 gig hard drive, somewhere between 500 and 1 terabyte. Well, it will have the Blu-ray drive, it will have the Blu-ray playback, but however, no backwards compatibility with PlayStation 3. And the same thing goes for PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 games. But they got this new streaming situation. Now, in order to stream a game, you have to have a good internet connection, though. Typically faster than what they offer in the US or Europe, though. When it comes to watching HD videos, you got to have at least 12 megabits per second to watch, and that's downstream, to watch an HD video, and that's to watch it in 720p and 1080p with minor freeze frame. Recommended 16 megabits per second. You got to have a minimum of 16 megabits per second to play an HD game, and that also makes it very, very limited and could cause it to freeze frame and not run as smoothly. Also, and it's recommended you have 25 megabits per second or higher. Now with the PlayStation 4, they're going to allow you to have up to 1 gigabit per second on the Ethernet. Typically, you're going to need a very fast connection. You're going to need somewhere between 50 and 100 megabits per second at a minimum to stream these games. That don't work on the cell network. That don't even come close. The cell network runs anywhere from about 5 to 15 megabits per second. So that won't even play a game online. Also, they've incorporated the PlayStation Vita, and they've also incorporated cell phones. Now, smartphones is actually what it is. So far, it's Google's Android and Apple's iPhone. No other devices have been looked at. And that might be why Google Android stepped up to quad-core processing to help support them games. But to stream them games would be very, very hard to do in the U.S. because of the fact that we have bandwidth caps. And the same thing with Europe. There's a bandwidth cap. And internet speeds typically only go up as high as 100. Well, that would barely make the cut, and typically very, very few even offer 50, let alone 100. Most of them only go up to 30. So that tops out because most of them are like a DSL type deal or some kind of satellite or something like that. Anyway, in Japan, that won't be an issue. The other thing is the servers. Okay, you know how hard it is to watch a video when there's a million people watching that same video. You get it freeze framing and all kinds of stuff. It wants to load all the time. Imagine how that would be if you had millions of people playing the same game. You wouldn't even be able to play it. You go to connect to the server, and instead you get an error message. That's the big problem with that. So now the things that Sony didn't talk about was the price. They didn't show the system. They didn't do any of the above. However, the system is I'm looking at a price range of probably about $600 is where it's going to be. And that's because of the USB 3.0, and that's because of the GDDR5 RAM. But that even cuts the price light. It could even be higher than that. But I figure it's going to be in the $600 range. Anyway, that concludes the preview. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Thank you.